Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about consistency and discipline. Um, I kind of I don't know, I'm in a pocket. I don't know what's really come over me. I'm in a pocket of themes and series lately. So I'm just keeping with the theme and going down, setting up the next phases and shit. Uh, it seems almost as if I'm like spinning back on old episodes and shit. Like, I don't know if that's the case, but that's just what it feels like. Um, and not necessarily old episodes, but just going deeper in depth. And so, considering how this season started and consider where we are within the season we go from passion, to commitment. I feel like the next step after passion and commitment are, consistency and discipline. And I kind of wanted to go into this episode and go into this space to talk about it because when I consider what discipline and consistency is, like a lot of people wonder why you can't, like, how is it hard? Why is it so hard to be disciplined? Why is it hard to be consistent with things? And it goes because you're not committed to it. And then you're not committed because there's no passion. You know what I'm saying? Discipline and consistency are very easy to maintain because in essence they're kind of one and the same, but they're slightly different. But to the core of them, they're just doing the same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? You got to be consistent with discipline, and you got to be disciplined with your consistency. And if you're not, then you're going to kind of you're not going to improve your commitments, right? So when I was talking about commitment in the last week's episode, I was discussing the ways in which how it tied to performance. And your performance will determine whether or not you need to continue to do the same thing again or you need to change the same thing, change up what you're saying. And I mean, not saying, but what you're doing. And when I consider what discipline and consistency is and how they tie into those, they kind of set the tone. As men, it's hard for us to continue moving forward in a lot of the things that we do, consistently and discipline wise, because we ain't got no passion in the shit and we're not committed to it. And if we're not fully going to be committed to anything, then there's no point in doing the same thing over and over again with it. You feel what I'm saying? And this kind of comes into where, I hear women talk about, the bullshit about, well, you stopped sending good morning text. You stopped doing what you did when we first started. Motherfucker, I got you. I don't need to do the things that I did before that let me get you. Now I need to do the things that's going to help me keep you. And if you're constantly focusing on the shit that I had to do to get you, you're going to overlook the shit that I got to do to keep you. And you're not going to realize what it is until it's gone. Because you're not seeing the consistency and the discipline that's applied to keeping you, as opposed to seeing the consistency and by focusing solely on the lack of consistency and discipline from what I did to get you. Those are two different people. Those are two different veins and two different lanes in which I have to maneuver in a relationship. And this is not just going to be about relationships, of course, but this is going to be, us as men as a whole. I use the relationship to set the groundwork for that shit because I look at men when we are in relationships and when they say, we be confused, what the fuck you mean I'm not being consistent with what I've been doing? Like, women want an influx of shit that you just can't give. You know what I'm saying? And they overlook the capacity of what consistency and discipline really is for us. Right. And then sometimes we don't necessarily honor the consistency and discipline because it's we do stop doing the good morning text. We do stop doing that because there's no more passion in that. There's no more commitment. Like, my commitment to getting you is when I got you, I don't have that same commitment. You feel me? Which means that I'm not going to be consistent and disciplined with the same commitment because the commitment is done. It's fulfilled. When the commitment is fulfilled, why would I continue to maintain the discipline and the consistency that I was maintaining in the early phases of doing that? And that doesn't just apply to relationships. That applies to everything. The moment the commitment is done, we no longer have a desire to be consistent and disciplined with that thing anymore because there's no commitment. And if there's no commitment, it's because there's no passion. I can't be consistent and disciplined with something I'm not passionate about. I can't be consistent and disciplined with something that there's no commitment about. And this applies to every single phase of our lives. You feel me? Every single phase. It's just what we are as men. You know what I mean? It's just what we are as men. We're gonna be consistent. We're gonna be disciplined, but we have to understand what those two things are and how to make sure we're actively applying them to our lives, because we have to know when to commit, when not to commit, when to remain consistent, when not to remain consistent, and things of that nature. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I feel like it's a necessary step in the little series that I got going on right now: passion, commitment, now consistency and discipline. I really, at this point, until the episode is done, I won't know what I may talk about in the next week in continuing with this series, but we'll find out by the time this episode goes and runs, and what should come next will come next. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Seen the Light. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And you know the vibe. That's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail conversations, consistency, and discipline. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to dive heavy into this motherfucker. So, off rip, I'm not going to dive heavy into the etymology and the definitions, so to speak, but I am going to set a tone for what I'm going to be talking about. Discipline is simply doing the same shit over and over again. And then consistency is repetitively doing the same shit over and over again. So the two, when they go hand in hand, they create cycles in our lives. For the most part, they create a cycle in our lives. But even deeper than that, what they do for us is allow us to move in a vein of habit. They allow us to develop habits. And now that I think about it, that might be the next part of the series, habits, right? But we'll find out once the episode keeps going, if I don't talk about habits too much here. But consistency and discipline. These are monumental factors of being a man. We hear it all the time. You're not consistent. You're not the bad part about discipline. Let me finish my thought in my imitation. You're not consistent. You're not disciplined. And like I said, these two pieces are like layered pieces of the cake that you have to have passion and commitment for first. We never when we can't do this, when we don't have a need or a desire to do the same thing over and over and again, we won't, because there ain't no commitment to it. We commit to playing our video games, which means we have the discipline necessary to improve through the game. We have commitment to achieve our goals, which means we're going to have the discipline to achieve our goals. But if there's no commitment to set that tone, we ain't going to have the discipline, which means we're not going to be consistent with this discipline. We're not going to consistently do the same shit over and over again. That's how habits are formed. Habits are when discipline and consistency align. Because eventually the discipline of doing the same shit over and over again and consistency to do the same shit over and like the repetition of doing the same shit over and over again develops the lifestyle, develops the habits, develops the necessary things that make us who we are. But as long as we misunderstand and misconstrue how discipline is supposed to be used, we'll fuck up. Because a lot of us are not disciplined, not because we can't be, but a lot of us are not really disciplined the way we're supposed to be because we tie discipline to punishment. This is humans as a whole, but this is so for our conversation. So, I gotta make it relate to us as men, to the brothers and shit. But we look at discipline from the perspective of punishment. You feel me? And when you're disciplined with something, I gotta discipline you, Even in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Niggas get DP'd and shit. Like, nigga, that's a physical fight, bro. You gotta get disciplined for some bullshit. Nah, nigga, that's punishment, bro. We gotta start calling shit for what it is, bro. And if we called shit for what it is, we wouldn't misinterpret the perception of what it is. This goes to the episode on divine oneness in a way. Because when I was talking about how divine oneness, what image do you see in your mind when you see certain words? So when I say, yo, we got to discipline, we got to be disciplined, regardless of how much I tell you got to be consistent and go to the gym and shit, you've already seen discipline as being punished. I got to discipline you because you got in trouble. I got to discipline you. So a lot of times we can't be disciplined with shit because we're not in trouble. A lot of the shit in our lives that we have to be disciplined for, we're not in trouble. There's no trouble here. So why the fuck am I having to do this shit? Why the fuck do I have to do this shit? Because the perception has already been tied and relegated to discipline being a response to being in trouble. So now, how do I remain consistent with doing a repeated action that I'm not in trouble for? The fuck? That shit don't make sense. But our minds have already been intertwined with that and interwoven to accept that that's the reality. That's the truest reality of what it means to be disciplined for us because the imagery has already been planted so young. You feel me? Oh, you got to wall squat because you in trouble. So I'm not doing anything that's going to make me hurt myself. The first rule of nature is self-preservation. And if my discipline is supposed to hurt me, I'm not doing that shit. We make so many words synonymous that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So as long as we view discipline from a perspective of punishment, there's no way we'll walk into consistency. Even more so, if we look at discipline from a state of being in trouble or punishment, when we connect that to commitment, why would you be committed to something that's bad for you, that's punishing you? You won't. You won't. You see how the semantics of words can really affect our reality? You feel me? And like I said, I brought this episode up because I've had situations where women be like, you just ghosted me. I ain't like, you started off strong. You was consistent. You was this. You was always talking. And you left me on red. You left me on delivered. You left me on kept. You didn't respond to me. Like, my consistency is contingent. My consistency and my discipline is contingent upon what I'm committed to. I'm not going to be committed to anything that is not committed back to me. And then when I'm not committed back to anything like that, then my passion is going to dwindle. You get ghosted. And it's not even that you really get ghosted. You just didn't know the last conversation was the last conversation because you left the last conversation off. Like, it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? I kept the shit going. I tried to talk to you. I tried to, and you just didn't respond. Oh, I got busy. Okay, you got busy for 6 months. Hey, it is what it is. You didn't even think about I did. I thought about you, but I also thought about me. The fuck is you talking about? I thought about how I keep extending and keep reaching out to you and you're not responding back. Why would I discipline myself and maintain consistency with that? Why would I commit to that? We won't. I won't. We won't. But that's where we are. You feel what I'm saying? And when we are not in that space of wanting to find and being committed to something, it's easy to lose the discipline for it. Because like I said, discipline is really just doing the same shit over and over again. If you brush your teeth every morning, you're disciplined. So you can't convince me that you struggle with discipline. If you eat breakfast every single day, you can't convince me that you struggle with discipline. If you eat the same thing every single day. You can't convince me that you struggle with consistency. But why does it work? Because there's a commitment there. And what is that commitment there? That commitment is I have defined my passion and aligned my passion with this that made me commit to this. And in making me commit to this, now I can be consistent and disciplined with this shit. Not only can I repeat the process through discipline, I can repeat the same process through consistency. We go to the gym with a workout. Okay, today is arm day, today's leg day, today's back day, or today's full body. I'm going to do all of these workouts every single day at 4:35 p.m. Because that's the time I go to the gym. I'm committed to my body. I'm committed to what I have to do. Why? Because I have passion for myself. I have the commitment to myself, which is going to give me the consistency and the discipline to keep motherfucking going. And motherfuckers be worried about a damn good morning text. You feel me? So and this now we're gonna look at it from a bigger perspective. This is one of the things that really fucks us up in relationships in this regard. And I'm gonna get to the other aspects. But like I said, relationships are just so easy to relate to this shit too, because this is what everybody seems to talk about. Like we learn through time that women don't want marriages, they want weddings. You know what I'm saying? Women don't want relationships, they just want somebody to be with them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I stopped losing that passion when I'm the only one giving. And I'm the only one doing and making sure things are like the whole phrase of happy wife, happy life is some bullshit, because now I have to be consistent. I have to be disciplined. I have to be committed. I have to have passion for something that I see does not share those same things with me. And at will, if I'm not giving those things to that entity, it doesn't return it back to me. We are disciplined and consistent solely for results. Not rewards, results. You feel me? Now, going back to the point of chasing women and shit, like, oh, I'm committed to get the number. I'm committed to get you. Now I get you. I got you. Now it's like, that's the result. It's not a reward. Now, when I get the reward, which is, oh, she told her homegirls I can get it, and then she gave it to me. Now it's like, oh, you don't have anything else to give. So now I can't. So the result is no longer my fact. Result is no longer my reward is no longer my focus. Result is. What result do I get out of this for being consistent and disciplined? To you. When we go to the gym, we have a result. You feel me? If I bench if my max is at 250 right now, I want to extend my max to 275. So I'm going to be consistent and disciplined until I can push myself to achieve the result. Once I get that result, I'm going to keep going. We are result-oriented beings, and that's what leads to us being consistent and disciplined. Developing the habits to produce a consistent result. This is anything in life, entrepreneurship, whatever. And the little nuances in between that make us solidify what it is that we solidify the consistency and discipline is based off continually receiving results. If I keep getting negative results, I'm either going to give up or I'm going to stop committing to the shit. Now, if I'm getting my positive results, if I'm getting the necessary results that I'm supposed to get, here we go. I'm going to keep being consistent and disciplined with this. When I first started trading, when I first started investing in shit, like, I never focused on the reward of getting a lot of money. I need the result that every time I come into the markets, I'm going to make money out of it. I'm not going to lose. And I know people say, well, you're still going to lose. There's still times. Yes. And I don't deny that at all. But I need to know why still. On the quest to result, I'm learning why. Now, this is why this turns into a So Frail Conversations, because masculinity is analysis and deconstruction. I'm going to be consistent and disciplined in this arena by proxy of masculinity and of using masculinity analysis and deconstruction, because what it's going to allow me to do is develop the result. As I get the result, I understand what it is that I'm doing. So like I said, when I was doing trading and investing, when I was actually learning this shit, my focus was never the reward of money. Is the result of making sure every time I step into the market, I have to get some money. You feel what I'm saying? The money's going to come if I get the result. The rewards will always come if I can produce the result. That's just really what it is. If I consistently and if I'm disciplined enough and I'm consistent enough to produce this result, I will always get the reward. However, if I chase the reward and I don't always get it, I'm not going to be consistent and disciplined. That's why relationships fuck up. Because we get the reward and there's no result. There's literally no result. We still got to tell women to be our peace. We still got to tell these things. And no, 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 no. I'm not in that space where I'm trying to do gender wars. I'm just saying I'm speaking solely from the collective of what I see going on right now. And we have to be able to speak on our side of the story to be able to truly understand what it is that why is it that on our end why things aren't working? Because we're not producing results. We're being rewarded for some shit that we're supposed to be result oriented built upon. Men are result oriented, like that's what we do. We produce results. But they want us to only focus on the rewards. After I get the reward a certain amount of time, it gets boring. And if I live in a space where everything that I do, everything that I have to do is solely about the reward, then I now focus myself to, okay, once I get the reward, I don't have to commit to it anymore. You feel me? But back to what I was saying about, when I was learning the markets and shit. Every time I lost, I was like, fuck, I should quit. Because, no, I ain't gonna say I should quit. That's not what I was saying. But in general, the consensus is if you're not getting the reward you want, then you should give up. No, I have to do this until I get the result I need. You feel what I'm saying? So when I first started trading, I was whooping ass. I was whooping ass because I just so happened to start when buyers had control on a much larger time frame. So every time I hit a buy, it worked until they started taking profits. And these were much larger players. This is how I know about larger players and shit. But this was much larger players stepping into the market that were actually, fucking shit up. They were fucking up the rewards. But there was a result I had to get. I said, how do I learn how to navigate this fully? So I had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing to get the reward, to get the result. I was consistent and disciplined. I was disciplined enough to do the same thing over and over again, and I was consistent enough to do it the same way to figure out how to make sure that I have to do this shit the same way. To where now, if we fast forward to where I am right now, I can open up a chart, I correlate, you feel me? I see who's in control, see where they're in control at. I wait for the price to come there, enter, exit, I'm good. I'm at a space now where I'm either going to break even, zero, or I'm going to profit. That's it. That was the result that I wanted to achieve. But I had to be consistent and disciplined for a series of years in order to get to this point. If you've gone through Mastering the Market, if you had time and I know we've been shut down for a minute. And we'll eventually come back. There was just other things that I was disciplined and focused on that I wasn't committed, that it didn't allow me to commit to anything else. So I couldn't be consistent. I couldn't be disciplined with the iwi community. Excuse me. Because I was in a space where I was like, I gotta be consistent and disciplined with something else, which ultimately became the page that I had to figure out. I had to get the marketing and shit 100% down pat. I have to. That's just, if from my brand and my business and everything that I'm supposed to be doing, if I have to continue, I have to lock this page down. You feel what I'm saying? Because I have to direct the traffic. I have everything I need done, but I still have to put this in. So I had to take a step back. That's why the podcast stopped. The downside of being consistent and disciplined is when you start dividing yourself. And I divided myself within everything. It's not that I couldn't do it, but it's like it was taking away and making things happen longer and making things come longer. So anyway, if you've gone through the Master the Market course and you see how I broke down week by week the different phases of what it is, I start off teaching you about a candle because that was one of the first things that I said. Okay, let me understand what a candle is. Because candles are basically the alphabets of the market. So I'm like, I have to understand what the fuck a candle is. And I was consistent and disciplined enough to make sure that I got the result that I wanted to. When I say I know what a candle is beyond, you have an open, a close, a high, and a low. No, there's something about a candle that makes it special, that makes it work. You feel me? Then I started to understand the depths of it. Then from the candle, you're able to get the pocket, you're able to get the pullback, you're able to get the battlefield, you're able to get the final push, you're able to get the upper hand. The upper hand, then the final push. You're able to see what a probe is, why wicks occur, what a wick on a candle is a probe on a lower time frame. Learning when to see a probe developing, knowing, okay, if I see this probe developing, I know that this is going to be a wick on a larger time frame. Somebody bigger is stepping in. There's the little things that I had to be able to learn to say, the result is what I'm looking for, not the reward. If I kept going in saying I wanted to get this money, just get this money. No, I have to learn what result is going to allow me to get this particular amount of money every single time. You feel what I'm saying? Because this game is about compounding. So if it's about compounding, I had to figure out, okay, I know that I got a compound, but I need a specific set of actions that are going to produce the result that gives me the reward I need every single time. Right? So that comes into stepping into the space of being disciplined and consistent enough to learn the process to produce the reward, to produce the result. That's the purpose of consistency and discipline. One thing that I learned about people is like, yo, if I could just be consistent, if I could just get my consistency right, if I could just get my discipline right, you have to learn the bridge. You have to learn the whole concept of why you need to be consistent and disciplined. And then what it takes to even open the door for you to be consistent and disciplined. I got young homies and little homies and shit who would ask me like, bro, how do I just lock in and you know what I'm saying? I got to get focused, bro. I got to do this right. You got to have consistency and discipline. I used to utter those words all the time to people. If you ain't consistent and disciplined, you ain't going to produce the result. But we actually have to sit back and look from the perspective of what does it take to be consistent and disciplined. It starts with passion, it starts with commitment, and then you're able to be consistent and disciplined. If you have no passion and no commitment for what it is, you're not going to get it. Sticking it back to what I was talking about with trading, I will always wonder why don't y'all? Because they wanted the reward of the money. They didn't want the result of the skill set. So you can't be passionate about developing a skill set when you're seeking a reward. You can't commit to developing a skill set when you're seeking a reward. Therefore, you can't be consistent and disciplined enough to learn the skill set when you're seeking a reward. You feel me? We're tied into such an incentivized reality that nobody wants to develop anything to produce a result. It started to really come to light for me when I was in like the 4th grade or so. I remember the 4th graders when they really started doing participation trophies and honorable mentions. I was like, man, I don't want that bullshit. Fuck that. Let me go train so I can come back next year and try to do this shit and see if I can get higher. See if I can produce a better result than I produced this time. No, they let motherfuckers cry and gave them trophies for losing. For losing. You don't even have a passion to win. You just want a reward for trying. That's where we get fucked up. We now are in a space where when you are rewarded for trying, you don't seek to produce a result. You don't seek to push to the result because you think, I got rewarded for trying. Trying is the result. When I was watching The Matrix, when Neo and Morpheus is first in the little simulation and they scrapping and shit, and Morpheus tell Neo, stop trying to hit me and hit me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, what the fuck? Like you're thinking too much. You're trying to get the reward of hitting me as opposed to what result do I need to exhibit to hit this motherfucker? I have to get through his punches. I have to get through his blocks. I have to dodge. I have to find my opening. I have to know this so well that I can produce the result of hitting him rather than trying to be rewarded. Hey, I hit you. Because now I'm just trying to hit you. I'm trying to achieve the reward. I'm not actually developing my skill set to produce the reward of hitting you. In order to do that, you have to develop the discipline to see something a million times a certain way to get and knock it out. I was reading Bruce Lee's book Jeet Kune Do, right? And in the Jeet Kune Do in the Jeet Kune Do book, Bruce Lee talks about punching through your target. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're going to hit them. The goal is to get beyond, to go beyond that, right? And to produce yourself in such a way that when you hit, it goes through. Even deeper than that. And the reason why I said that, because I really forgot in that moment what I was going to talk about, but I had to say something to keep flowing and shit. But it ties into this. But the real thing that I was going to say from the Jeet Kune Do book was Bruce Lee said, in that same context, he was like, I don't fear the man who practices 1,000 kicks. I don't fear the man who practices 10,000 kicks one time. I fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times. Like, nigga, you know how to use this kick, bro. You know what result is going to happen from this. But the motherfucker who has the 10,000 kick, I just need a reward. I got to kick you. I got to kick you. But the person who's practicing, I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you. Now the question is, am I going to hit you or am I going to go through you? So it does connect into that shit. You know, I did kind of ramble off, but it does connect into that shit. Because I know that I'm going to hit you. Now I got to go through you. Like, I practiced this kick, I practiced this punch so many times that I know where to hit you at, bro. Now I just got to aim through you. I got to aim through you, bro. My discipline and my consistency has reached such a point. First, my passion for wanting to be able to kick your ass is there. My commitment to developing the skill set is there. I've had the discipline and the consistency to develop to kick the same way 10,000 motherfucking times, go through the boredom. Go through the lack of excitement. Go through all of this shit to where it gets mundane. You know what I'm saying? To where shit gets redundant. So now when I do it, I don't even think about it. I'm going to kick you. I practiced this kick 10,000 times. I'm going to kick you. Now the question is, when I kick you, what's going to happen to you? I don't want the reward of just kicking the motherfucker. I want the result of what happens when I punch through this nigga. You feel what I'm saying? What happens when I punch through you? If I stop at my target, which is you, my punch will not be as effective as if I'm trying to go through. You're in the way. You're in the way. You ever ran through something? You ever ran to something or ran through something? You know that there's a far more momentum with running through something than it is running to it. And what you run through is always going to be damaged far more than what you run to. I'm going to say that again. What you run through is going to be far more damaged than what you run to. Because you innately start to slow down once you reach your target. In track, I never ran track, but I studied track coaches and shit. They teach you finish strong. Don't stop running until you cross that line. Don't stop running before the line. Because what happens, that person that's still running, that has to run through the line, they can catch you. They can catch you. So now, do you want the reward of finishing, or do you want the result of consistently running and keeping the same pace the entire duration of this run? You feel what I'm saying? That is only developed through your consistency and your discipline to constantly put yourself in a space where you have to do this over and over and over and over and over again. You feel me? Discipline and consistency are not difficult. They're not difficult whatsoever. But as I was saying, we have to start to teach it and we have to start to understand it from a perspective of, one, I need to produce a result. And two, there are things that have to come in before I can even be consistent and disciplined in something. I have to develop passion for it. I have to want to be committed to doing this. That's where the bridge is coming in. This is why I was talking about the honorable mentions. Because I know I'm going to get a trophy for trying. I'm going to get kudos for trying. It's going to be okay if I just try. What is going to happen when I just try and I just do that shit? I skip passion and I skip commitment because I know I'm going to be rewarded. But when I know that I'm focused on a result, I don't give a fuck about being rewarded. I will do everything necessary to produce this result. I ain't gonna say that's crazy, but that's what this is about. It's crazy to believe that we have now been wired into a society, into a world of participation is enough. It's not. It's not. I don't want the rewards. I want the result. And I will delay. And because of instant gratification, a lot of us can't walk into the space of being disciplined and consistent because we do not have the wherewithal to get the gratification we need. I was listening to Smart. I think I, he from New York. His name's Smart or the Smart Man or some shit like that. His name's Smart. I know it's something with Smart, but he was talking about Jordan, and he was like, Jordan had to be Jordan even when he was losing. Same shit. Kobe had to be Kobe even when he was losing. Like you had to show up every single time. If you was gonna be a champion, you had to play at a championship level every single time, whether you was winning a championship or not. You know how many people, and this ties into discipline and consistency as well, because you know how many people won't put in the full effort if there's nothing on the other side of it. When Kobe played, they had Kobe playing in a Rucker game. They had Kobe playing in it was some game in LA or whatever the case may be. And they like, yo, he played like he trying to win the chip. Like, nigga, it's just pick up, bro. This ain't like, nah, nigga, I'm gonna play like I'm about to drop 60 on y'all. I'm gonna show because everywhere I go, I have to produce the same result. That's the power of consistency and discipline. Every time I go somewhere, every time I show up to this arena, I have to produce this result. I know I'm going to get the reward, but I have to produce this result, which means that I don't care what happens. I'm going to operate from the same level I always do to produce this result. That's consistency. That's discipline. Continually operating at the same level all the time to produce the result. We lost that. We lost that. As men, we lost that because, all you have to do, I just need you to show up. Don't tell a motherfucker without that lacks. Don't tell a motherfucker with passion, that doesn't have passion or commitment to anything, just to show up, because they will. I'm here. Give me something. This is where the entitlement comes in. You know how many people feel like they deserve something just because of them, just because they showed up? No, no, no. That's not how this shit works. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. You have to be relentless enough to produce the result. Everybody wants to be a champion, but don't nobody want to be a champion. You feel me? Like, this is when it comes to people saying, "Oh, you got a mean work ethic and shit like that." Nah, work ethic. I feel like work ethic is a fucked up term to use, because half the shit that you have a good work ethic for is not work for you. I'm gonna say that shit again. Any motherfucking body who you see has a work ethic, they say, "Yo, you have a strong work ethic." Like, they're at work they're not working. That's what you missed that whole point. They're not working. It's not work for them. It's what they do. You feel what I'm saying? It's what they do. This ain't work. So I don't have a work ethic. I'm trying to produce a result. And I'm going to produce this result. That's where that work ethic comes in. When they talk about rappers, the old head rappers and shit, they say it all the time. Pac had an insane work ethic. Pac had an insane work ethic. But when you actually look at it, look at what I'm glad that I opened this door, because this is a perfect example for commitment, discipline, all of this shit. They say Pac had an insane work ethic where he would go to the studio and he would write like, you know, like fucking albums and go produce movies and shit like that. They blamed it on his work ethic. But if you actually listen to him speak, you see where his passion started and what he was committed to. He's like, I have a lot of shit that I got to do before I leave this world. And some say, well, Pac kind of knew he was going to die early or die, whatever the case may be. He even spoke it in his songs, Power, Life, and Death in the Tongue. He knew that his time would be cut short at some point. But he knew that I can't leave this world without having everything done. So my passion is there. Every emotion, every feeling that I have is now tied to this one thing. And it's not tied to me making multi-platinum albums. It's not tied to me making movies. It's not tied to this. It's tied to my passion comes from making sure I can't leave this world without having everything I need done. That allowed him to be committed to that, which gave him the discipline and the consistency to do what he did. So they'll say Pac would drop like, they said, what was it? He recorded All Eyes on Me when he got out of jail in 2 weeks. All Eyes on Me was recorded in 2 weeks. And a lot of people were like, damn, bro, that like mix, master, like he did his part in 2 weeks because he had the consistency and the discipline. They look at it as work ethic by omitting the fact that he had passion and he committed to it and he remained consistent and disciplined to the passion and the commitment. A lot of us look at it and say, yo, this person has an insane work. I've even heard it. I've even heard it to myself, and it's not a horn tooter because it's my podcast or whatever the case may be. But if you've been rocking with me for as long as you've been rocking with me, you know. I think we at like 330 now, 330 maybe, or it's 320, it's between 320 and 330 episodes. 320, 330 episodes of the podcast. 4 books, sorry. 2 courses or whatever the case may be. And it's like, yo, you got an insane, I don't have an insane work ethic. My passion, my commit, like, it wasn't work. It wasn't work. It was just simply consistency and discipline rooted in the fact that I had a commitment to make. I had a commitment to myself, and my passion was fueled through it. You feel me? Still learning how to still day trade and invest in, not just, I just want to, no, this, I mastered the market. And I have to be able to master the market in such a way that I can teach people how to master it. Not just make money from this motherfucker, but master the shit. All of my students that have learned it, they are in different realms right now. I have some people that trade Forex. I have some people that trade futures. I have some people that trade stocks. I have some, they're like, yo, I got the skill set, bro. And it was on me to learn it in such a way that I can teach it in such a way that somebody can know it the way that I do. My passion was there. You feel me? Some can blame it on my stars or whatever the case may be. I'm just a natural teacher. Like, and when I teach for real, I have to make sure you understand. For me, it's not just disseminating information, it's making sure you understand. I don't know if y'all heard, it's a while back. There was an episode where I was talking about one of my one-on-one students that I had with Mastering the Market. It was the worst student I had. You feel me? She almost made me not want to do this shit again. She almost made me want to just give it up and start to question myself, like, am I doing this wrong? She wanted the reward and not the result. Everybody else that I taught wanted the result. And I didn't really get that at the time because it's like, why can't she get it? Am I doing something wrong? Like, what is the problem? Like, what is it? Like, and it really fucked with me because I'm like, yo, am I really supposed to be teaching this shit? Am I really able to teach this shit? I would literally have to go back to some of my old students and be like, yo, are you still like profitable, bro? Like, I know I'm good, but I have to make sure you were a student that I let go in the wind. Like, this student is struggling. It's like, that's not on you. Because then when I went back and I started to look, every time I told her to teach it back to me, she couldn't. Every other student that I told to teach it back to me, they did. I said, okay, this wasn't the same thing. Shit just wasn't the same. But I know within myself, from whether it be the stars, whether it be my divine connection, whatever, I'm here to teach people shit. I'm here to learn complex shit, analyze and deconstruct it, teach it, and give it back. Everything that I do is a part of the passion that I just have naturally. With everything. And so when people hear me, they're like, yo, why do you I don't get angry. I don't get upset. Like, you're just used to that being what's associated with passion. I have a plethora of emotions that are tied to everything that I do. It makes me passionate about the shit that I do. You know, when I did Hitting It Raw, when I did like everything that I did, I put my passion into it. So I was 100% committed to making sure it worked. When it was time for me to learn branding, advertising, and marketing, I was passionate about learning that shit. And I was so committed to it that I was like, yo, I have to learn this shit. And I was learning from everything, always executing, always applying, always doing certain shit. Good was never good enough for me. And this is where we get into the consistency and the discipline side of it, because it's like when you're producing a result, the only outcome is the result. This is why good is not good enough for some people. Some people are comfortable with the bare minimum, and it's okay. You be that. But some people are not comfortable with the bare minimum. Some people are only satisfied when they have the result that they see in their mind. So what do they teach us? Oh, you're a perfectionist. Oh, you're this. No. If you're going to constantly call me a perfectionist, if you're going to constantly give me some kind of negative connotation for wanting to produce a result and be consistent and disciplined, what do you think is going to happen when it's actually time for me to exhibit discipline and consistency? I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. What I'm going to end up doing is enough. Enough. That's gotta suck to do enough. There's no reason to be consistent and disciplined with anything when all you're looking for is enough. All you're looking for is fucking enough. No, that's not what we do this for. And as men, if you following me, if you fucking with me on this type of time, you listening to this podcast, we are aligned. We're one of those people. It's like, yo, enough is not enough, bro. It's not enough. A few solid niggas left, but it's not enough. I get on their ass shit. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it. Somebody has to produce the result to push the culture forward. Somebody has to produce the result to make sure people see certain things. You feel me? Tying it back to Pac and his, they say his work ethic. Like he said, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I'm going to be the spark. I'm going to spark the mind that does, because that's what we're supposed to do. Spark. We're supposed to produce the results that somebody can build on. When it comes to the civil rights movement, when it comes to the black leaders now, they not producing no results for the kids to build on anymore. It died with the Black Panthers. That was the last group to produce results for us to build on. That's almost 50, 60 years ago. You feel what I'm saying? That's almost 50, 60 years ago. We're no longer producing results. And as men, if we're going to be the leaders, we're going to call ourselves, I lead, I this, that, and the third. I'm supposed to, if you're supposed to do that, that means you're supposed to be producing a result for people to compound on. That's it. That's it. And you do that through consistency and discipline. So many of us want to be the face. So many of us want to be just images and shit that people can follow. No, produce a result that I've replicated. I say this all the time, and I got a jam session where they say you hit the head and then the sheep is scatter, but ain't no sheep inside my clique. You get your shit splattered. I'm not worried about my shit leaving. Like, if I leave this world right now, I'm not worried about my shit dying with me, because I've already planted the necessary seeds accordingly to like within Frail 1, 2, and 3. I've actually broke down the results and giving you the results. When I look at and this is what these Frail conversations are about too, me telling you and showing you and giving you the results. I don't want you to follow me. I don't want you to copy me. I don't want you to do shit that you see me do. I want you, well, yeah, I do, but you know what I mean? I want you to produce the result that I produced and produce that result for you. Don't do what I did. Take the tools and the resources that I'm giving you and produce the result. We learn this shit in science, bro. When you are in chemistry, biology, whatever the case may be, especially chemistry, when you go to lab, you get your lab book or whatever the case may be, the experiment has already been done. They know what result is supposed to happen. Now the goal is to make you a scientist by understanding how to produce this result. If you're not producing this result, you did the experiment wrong. Something went wrong and you have to figure out where you went wrong. That's what the experiment phase is. We don't experiment no more. You know why we don't experiment anymore? Because we don't have consistency and we don't have the consistency and the discipline to experiment. I'm doing a dramatic pause with that, because those two things those things go in hand with experimentation. Fuck trying, nigga. Experiment. Like, I swear, if I have sons, bro, and when I have my kids, if I have sons, like, we're never gonna be, yo, try again. No, experiment again. That experiment didn't work. Experiment again. That's the separation between when I tell people where we're built from a different cloth is that you may try this. I'm going to experiment with this. I'm gonna get the result. This is the scientist in me. It just so happens that I'm a natural scientist. Most of us as men, we're natural scientists simply because it's analysis and deconstruction. You feel what I'm saying? It's analysis and deconstruction. When we are in that space where we're experimenting with something, we're trying to get a result. But when you are just trying, I'm gonna give you the participation trophy so you don't want to experiment no more. I experiment every fucking day. Even when I understand some shit and I got some shit down pat, I'm going to experiment some more. This is how I came to understand correlation in the markets. I experimented so much with correlation, like, yo, is it like this? Is it like this? No, that don't work. 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 Eventually, it got to the point where all that was left was what worked. You have to be consistent and disciplined enough to achieve the result that you're going to see, and you have to get through the failures to do it. We're not willing to fail, bro. And if we're not willing to fail, we're not willing to learn. And if our first failure knocks us out of our consistency and our discipline, then what the fuck are we doing? We have no passion. We're not committed to this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Now, if we're not applying this in our own regular individual lives, we're definitely not going to apply this to relationships. We cannot bring this into a relationship. Now, when you bring this into a relationship and you're not producing a result to better to improve the relationship, if you're going to lead, this is what it is. Black men are supposed to lead. Everybody wants black men. Women want black men to lead in their relationships until I'm now leading you to produce a different result. Oh, now you changing me. I'm trying to get this result out of this relationship. The fuck you think a relationship is for? Our marriage is a business. Business, love is law, family is business. It is business. We have a result that we're supposed to be producing as a family. As a family, my nigga, we have a result that we're supposed to be producing. And I have to lead you to that result. Because this is something that I talk about. When we look at women, they say, well, women give birth. Women are supposed to, she can die on the bed when she's giving birth. I'm not knocking that. I'm not speaking ill of that. That is some fucked up shit. But this is where we come into balance. Because while women die, women have the possibility of dying giving birth. Men have the possibility of dying creating life. You feel me? And here's what I mean by when I say creating life. We're, as men, if we truly understood and when we get back to our ancestral connections and shit the way we're supposed to be, men protect and provide is deeper than that. This shit deeper than that, bruh. It ain't just protect and provide. We are in a space where we're responsible for 3 generations. Not 3 generations, but we're responsible for 3 bloodlines. Men, hear me well. This is why consistency and discipline is important. This is why commitment is important. This is why passion is important. Because you have to produce the result. Because you're responsible for 3 bloodlines. You're responsible for keeping your bloodline intact. You're responsible for intertwining with the bloodline of your woman. And you're responsible for creating a new bloodline. Don't nobody talk about that shit? We don't have rites of passage. We're not sitting our sons down to actually talk about this shit. To actually come to terms with the reality to say, bro, you're responsible for 3 bloodlines. If men knew that they were responsible for 3 bloodlines, how much more serious would they take their own life? You feel what I'm saying? When I did my studying and I did my growth and I did my healing and my development, when I came to terms with that, I said, I can't have no babies right now. I got to fix my bloodline first. The bloodline I come from is fucked up and I got to fix that shit before I can even transmute this on. Then I have to be able to meet a woman whose bloodline I'm willing to help repair. As black people in America, all of our bloodlines are fucked up because we have trauma running through our fucking bloodlines. So I have to first create the result within myself that I know that I need for me. Then when I meet somebody else, I have to lead them and bring that same result out of them. So now when we come together, the result is our bloodline. You know how hard that is? You know how difficult that fucking is? This is why I run back and forth and say, you know what? I just might not end up in a relationship with a woman. I might not end up having kids. My shit might stop here simply because I'm responsible for 3 bloodlines and my bloodline is straight. I got my bloodline right. And I got the potential for but it's the second part. Because now I have to go into your bloodline and see, yo, this is what you were produced. This is what your bloodline produced in you. I'm not saying something's wrong with it, but I'm saying it's not producing any result that we both need to give a child. So we have to change that. But then it's like, you're trying to change me. You're trying to people. No, I'm trying to produce a result for what I need in the future. That's what men are supposed to do. Everybody keep talking about what is a man for real? What is it? It ain't no social construct. It ain't no social construct. Source already broke it down. This is why we are masculine. This is why we have analysis and deconstruction. I'm supposed to heal my own bloodline. I'm supposed to break the generational curses, create the generational blessings. Now, when it comes, I have to heal the bloodline within myself so I can see the next bloodline, the bloodline in a woman that's supposed to work with me in order to create a new bloodline. Hey, bro, for real, though, at some point, we got to stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men. And it's time we start having this conversation now. When I tell y'all, we're supposed, like, if we do want to say the man is the seed, okay, man, we hold the seed. Okay, cool. Why are you not cultivating the earth? You just planting seeds in any kind of earth. The fuck? There's certain standards and certain things that I can't have in a woman because you're going to make sure that my kids don't come out that way. I will not be able to produce the resulting children that I'm supposed to be producing if you do this, if you move this way, which means that, and I'm saying that because, and it ties into the consistency and discipline because it's like, you worried about me saying good morning? You worried about a fucking reward when I'm trying to get a fucking result produced? You got it. Things just change. You stop talking this way. You stop doing this way because we are beyond the reward. I got you, baby. Now work with me so we can produce this fucking result that I need to produce. If you're not willing to produce this result that I already have set that I want to produce, please just leave me the fuck alone. As men, because the collective of us have been programmed to wire to, once you get the result, you good. We don't even focus on once you get the reward, you good. We don't focus on the results that we're supposed to be producing going forward. We're not focusing on the results that we are supposed to be producing going forward. Therefore, we have no passion anymore. We have no commitment anymore. If I want sons that exhibit a certain thing, I have to already have the result in motion. I can't just throw the lob to them. Be better than me. I would never tell my son to be better than me. I would never tell my sons if I have them, yo, be better than me. No, do what the fuck I did. I ain't even gonna say do what I did because you have your own life. Produce the result that I produced. You have to produce it in your own way. And I have to show you how to do that. That's why in the Bible it say, train a child up in the way that they should go. I'm going to teach you how to produce the result that you're supposed to produce in your life. And as a son, you're responsible for 3 bloodlines. The one you come from, the one you pair with, and the one you create. I have to teach you how to be consistent and disciplined enough before that even happens to be able to produce the necessary result to be a father, to produce the necessary result to be a good husband, to produce the result to be a good man first. We just out here behaving for the reward. That's it. That's it. And don't nobody want to talk about that shit. You feel me? Everybody want to talk about, yo, be my peace. Men are like, no, nigga, let's really have these conversations, bro, and let's take it to that next level, bro. I'm already taking it to the next level, and that's where I want everybody to be. We need to now get into the space where we're result-oriented, bro. Really be result-oriented and take that shit further. You feel me? I knew that in order for my kids, in order for my children, in order for them to even be able to remotely come close to fulfilling their life's purpose and doing their mission, I have to make sure that they can do it. I have to make sure that I'm the one who's educating them. I have to make sure that I'm the one who's able to provide for them without having to worry about government assistance. I'm the one who has to worry about that. And when I say government assistance, I don't just mean welfare. A job technically is government assistance. If they took away your shit right now, if you got told you were fired right now, what would you do? I'd have to find another job. Okay, what will you do in the meantime? Wait. Have you produced the result to be able to remain autonomous? There was a fight. There was a large fight that I had to be able to do to learn these skills, to learn these. When I seen what it was actually going to take, that's where it becomes intimidating for a lot of people. I want to address that. Entrepreneurship, as they say, entrepreneurship ain't for everybody because entrepreneurship requires consistency and discipline to produce a result. You have to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to keep working and working and working till you consistently get the result that you see. The rewards are going to come. You're going to get paid. You're going to get the money. But how often are you consistently doing what's going to get you that result? A lot of people give up because they don't get the reward in the beginning. They don't get the reward at all. Because the instant gratification that they're looking for, that they're used to, that they're accustomed to, they no longer have that anymore. The goal is, I know that this is sporadic right now, but I have to learn from these metrics. I have to learn from these things in order to produce the correct result every single time. The more I produce the result, the easier it is for me to be consistent and disciplined. This is why when people say you have to be goal oriented, set goals, I don't believe in setting goals anymore. I believe in setting results. Cause what do you do when when you hit the goal? Is that just it? The goal stops? No. I have to, my quote unquote goals are consistently producing a result. That's the goal for me. Because as people say, the moment you catch a goal, that's when it's over. I did it. I know so many people who say I have a goal of losing 15 pounds. They'll lose the 15 pounds and then gain some more, gain it right back. Oh, so losing 15 pounds wasn't the result. I say it like this. I'm going to say it a different way. Some people have a result. Let's say a person weighs 200 pounds and that person wants to lose 15 pounds and come down to 185, right? The person who has the goal of losing 15 pounds will never be as solid and disciplined as the person who has the goal of maintaining a 185-pound weight. If my result is to maintain 185 pounds, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. And I'm going to not gain it back because my result is whatever I'm doing has now produced the reality now that I now maintain 185 pounds. However, the person that goes from 285, that's my goal, to lose 15 pounds. They lose the 15 pounds. I lost it, and then they gain it back. And that's why the weight fluctuates. Because they keep setting the goal, meeting it, falling back from the goal. Setting the goal, meeting it, falling back from the goal, which then turns into what? Inconsistency, lack of discipline. It's not inconsistency and lack of discipline. It's lack of focus on what you're actually supposed to be doing. The goal isn't to lose the 15 pounds. It's to maintain a weight of 185 pounds. That's the result. Do you see how, tying it back in to the law of divine oneness, tying it back into that episode, you see how the visual imagery changes? My goal is to lose 15 pounds. Once I lose that 15 pounds, I'm good. Now my goal is to maintain 185 pounds. My input and my output are now different. Because every day I now have to consistently do what needs to be done to maintain 185 pounds. Equally, I have to do every day what it takes to lose 15 pounds. When I lose that 15 pounds, that's it. I've lost it. What's next? What's next? Clap it up for myself because I lost this weight and now I gained it back. And now I got to do it again. As opposed to, discipline and consistency is once you reach the result that you want, keep producing that same result. Simple. Simple. Simple as fuck. And you know how when people say it's easier said than done? No, it's easier said than done because it's easier to say than it is to do. Because nobody wants to be consistent and disciplined with what they say. You feel me? When people ask me, they say, yo, I want to start this, but I don't know where to start. Start. The fuck? Stop trying to set goals. My mouse, I want to make this amount of money a month, or I want to make this amount of money a day. Okay, what results how does that result play out? For example, bare minimum, 6 figures is $100,000 a year, right? How much is that a day? $274 a day. So when people say, I want to make 6 figures, right? What are you doing to produce that result today? Oh, no, I'm focusing on my month. You'll miss the point. It's brick by brick. You have to get your shit down to what you have to do every single day in order to produce this result. For example, and this is something that I learned when I was starting my branding and when I was learning my branding and advertising. Like, set your shit up to know how much you want every single day. So now a lot of people be like, yo, you post a lot. Of course I post a lot because I have a goal that I'm supposed to be trying to get. My old page got shut down. So now I have a different result. It's at this point, it's like I already know I know how to post and structure my shit to do what I need to do. But now I have a result of I got to get my shit back up to where I can get to that point again. But all in all, the result is the same. Every day I have to post this certain way. At the time of this recording, I know because y'all see me experimenting and shit. Like I've been trying to find the best way to put my content out the way it needs to, so that way I can grow it the way I needed to grow it. So that way, my music is on every post. Um, I'm able to post my brands. I'm able to grow my account through the reels and everything, like, and then have what's supposed to be like my exact content to develop and shit. You seen how I set that up. At the time of this recording, you have now seen how the new page developed. You have the reel, which is basically just me looking out the window, some shit real simple and quick. And then you have the actual meaty content or whatever, and then you have the brand, right? Now, it's like, why do you post so much? Oh, cause nigga, my intention is I have to show everything that I do a certain amount of times. I have to constantly keep my shit in an algorithm. I have to constantly keep my shit running, keep my shit flowing. So what I end up doing is I post all of this in such a way that my intention is this is what I need to make. Whether it be a course, whether it be whatever it is, I have to brand and I have to advertise and I have to market my shit every single day. Every single day, every single moment. I have to do it multiple times in a day. You feel me? So within a day, you might get a good 20 posts. You might get a good 15 posts from me. How many times did I post my brands? I don't care about how many motherfuckers are, I'm tired of seeing that. Okay, unfollow me, nigga. I don't give a fuck about that shit, bro. I have a result that I'm trying to produce. You being like, you make it easier for me to get my results when you walk away from me. You feel what I'm saying? That was something that I used to like try to plague my mind on, like with the old page when effort, like, yo, you don't want to say this because you don't want to lose these followers. No, nigga, you help recalibrate my results. If you walk away from the shit that I'm doing, it's perfect because you allow someone else to walk in who's supposed to be here, my nigga. The fuck? Why would I continue to be upset, mad at oh, I lost a follower today? Bye, nigga. Imagine you have a storefront. Somebody comes into your store and every single day they walk into your store and don't buy something. Are you going to be mad when they stop coming to your store? No. No, I can't come to your store no more. I don't give a fuck. You didn't buy shit anyway. Get the fuck out. The fuck? I'm going to tell people now, okay, cool. Tell whoever you need to. Whoever you tell not to come into my store is not supposed to be in my fucking store if they listen to you. The fuck? But now that puts me into a calibration of what? To create the result that I need. Now I can be consistent and disciplined with what I'm committed to and put my passion behind. So my thing was I'm trying to get the maraschino cherry on the top because I was like, and this goes into the consistency and discipline, I needed to produce the result of every time I post in some way, shape, or form, money has to be generated. Which means that I can't just keep posting other people's music on my shit. No, I got to start recording my own music and post my own music on my own shit now. Every single post is my music, right? So that's one way. Now I have to leverage, okay, IG, y'all niggas like shadow banning niggas, but you don't shadow ban motherfuckers and you don't mute motherfuckers and put music on their shit because you get paid off the shit. You're now incentivized to post and promote this shit. Ain't nobody telling that part. So when you post your music and shit on the page, you got to look at everything that you're looking at, especially on social media. You have to look at it from a business perspective. When they tell you your reels go farther when you use certain shit, you're this, that, and the third. When you start using trending audio and shit like that, and that trending audio is monetized by somebody, they're going to pay us to make sure their music gets played. You feel me? I don't know everybody else's splits. I can only speak on mine. With Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, all of them, I got an 80-20 split. So anytime my music is played on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, however many streams, views, or whatever it get, I get 80%, they get 20%. So for every dollar made, I get 80 cents, they get 20 cents. It would incentivize a motherfucker to push that shit. You feel me? Without you having to have your hands on the shit. I knew that this was a result that I needed to produce. And I knew what it was going to take, and I had to figure out what it was going to take to produce that result. I knew that every time I post, I have to be able to brand and talk about my businesses in some way, shape, or form. You feel me? I also know that it takes you 7 times to see certain things. You feel me? I had to get into those points, and that's where the consistency and the discipline came in. You feel me? I had to set myself up to do the same thing the same way every single time. Discipline is doing the same thing. Consistency is doing it the same way. Now I know I kind of went over entrepreneurship, all that shit. Now I'm gonna bring it back to relationships because this is one of the reasons why we have problems because women simultaneously want consistency, but they want spontaneity at the same time. Those two things do not go hand in hand. You cannot be consistent and spontaneous. Now, granted, you have moments where you can deviate from your plan or whatever the case may be, but when you know what your result is, you know what your result is. Every time you have a spontaneous moment within the consistency of what you're trying to produce, you are going to deviate yourself from it. For every time you do some random shit every time you do some random shit that makes you inconsistent, it takes you away from your result. It's that simple. So this is why we begin fucked up in relationships because we get into a space where it gets boring. Nobody knows how to move with boredom. That's a sad part about this shit. Boredom. A lot of motherfuckers don't know how to maneuver through boredom. They don't know how to be bored. Do you know how much power is in boredom? Boredom is where your discipline, your consistency is developed. Because in boredom, you have to figure out how to make your passion come to life. And then you find what you're committed to when you're bored. A motherfucker that don't know how to, a motherfucker that's always bored has no commitment to anything and they have no passion. I've dealt with women like that, bro. It's like, yo, I don't like being bored. Okay, well, go do something creative. I don't know what to create. You have no passion then. I'm never bored. I've in my 34, going on, it'll be 35 years in 3 weeks at the time of this recording. In my 34 years on this earth, I have never been bored. And I know that I have never been bored simply because I've always had passion about something. And I've always been able to fill my boredom with some kind of passion, and it comes from my discipline and my consistency. You feel what I'm saying? When you are both consistent and disciplined with something, you will do it the same way. You'll do the same thing the same way for as long as you need to produce the result that you're looking for. If you are able to give up and quit, you are not consistent and disciplined simply because you're not looking for a result. You're looking for a reward. When I look at some of my students, I periodically check, and they go back into the Master in the Market course. They be like, yo, such and such. Like, they have been in the course for a good 2, 3, 4 years, some of them. And then I can go back and I check and be like, such and such was in the, such and such logged in 2 weeks ago. You're consistent and you're disciplined with wanting to gain the result. So you're going to keep coming back to what you don't know, or what may be shaky to you, or you just know what you want to review on. I still do it. I still go back from the beginning and break down the candle and go all the way back to the double time frames, the upper hand, the back. Like, because there's always something. I'm like, yo, maybe I can get sharper. Maybe I can get this. Maybe I can get that. Maybe I can get that. I get it. There's only so much more you can learn. There's not. There may be only so much you can learn, but there's not so much you can experience, because now when I'm able to transfer this into the actual markets and see something new, oh shit, that's what that is. That's what that is. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm able to see it better. You feel what I'm saying? But it comes from having the capacity to be both consistent and disciplined in everything that you do. Relationships will always fail as long as people need excitement. Relationships will never produce the results you want them to produce if it's always needing to be excitement and spontaneity. Those two things do not work with consistency. This is why when women be like, men are inconsistent, I'm like, because y'all are indecisive. The fuck? The two go hand in hand. An inconsistent man will always pair with an indecisive woman, and vice versa. Do you know why? Because neither one of them have the discipline to be bored and to create within their boredom. They're not looking for a result. They're looking for a reward. Women, the reward for women is that men meet their expectations. And men are rewarded for meeting expectations. Now, what do you think? All you can do is keep raising your standards and your expectations. The fuck? And if I keep rising to the occasion to meet them, eventually I'm like, yo, this is a game, and I'm tired of meeting your expectations. because we're still not producing any fucking results. Because every time I meet your expectations, I get the same fucking reward. You feel me? It's my birthday. You're going to give me some pussy that I already got 365 days out of the year. Oh, it's Christmas. You're going to give me some head that I get 365 days out of the year. This time you're going to dress up and put an outfit on and give me the same reward that I always get. What results are we producing, bro? For some people, the only results that they'll ever produce is children. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. And you're producing these results, and you're producing these results as rewards. Children are rewards for some people, not the results. When I actually decide to lock in and I find a woman that I'm supposed to be with and we building this shit, our children are results. They're not going to be rewards. They're not going to be something that we have to try to fill a void because we're not loving each other. It's just so cold. We now want to love something else. No, this is a result that we're now ready to produce because we have worked consistently and disciplined, and we're disciplined enough and we work consistently enough to be able to continually produce this result. Because every day we're going to have to be result oriented in order to develop a child. The fuck? Why are we in a space where we're not doing that? Because we as men can't lead women into that. And I get it. Y'all hear me talk all the time. Women ain't submissive to men. Women are supposed to be unleashed. All of that shit. There still has to be a result that has to be produced. And men, you still have to. We still have to lead the woman into that. This is why I say women aren't submissive. They need to be unleashed because your leadership has to bring that out of her. It has to bring the result-oriented side out of her. The fuck? You know how many women are not result-oriented? They have all of these dreams, all of these visions, all of these spectacular ideas that they want to do. What results are you willing to put in to get this? What result do you wish to have? You feel me? I kept in my entrepreneur days, in my early times when I was running into women and we were talking, they wanted the reward. The rewards that they wanted was the results I was trying to produce. So they would tell me, yeah, I want to be able to homeschool my kids. I want to be able to, live off the land and grow my own food and stuff like that. And this thing, I said, all right, cool. In my time, because I had not even understood this yet to the capacity in which I'm presenting it right now, I would hear the reward and think they wanted the result like I did. And it's like, so what are you doing to do this? Have you learned anything about gardening? Do you know how to compost? Like, what things do you like? How are you planning to be able to homeschool your children? Because somebody's got to stay home in order to be around the babies while they're learning from home. But somebody has to be well-rounded enough to teach them. I will homeschool my kids because that is a result that I'm looking to produce. Because you know why? When it comes to the homeschooling and shit, my passion, I'm going to show you how I was able to be disciplined enough to focus on setting this result. My passion comes from me never being able to have anybody ask me why. Never being able to ask anybody why, because nobody would answer. I don't want my children to look at me and say, Daddy, why? And I can't explain it. No. I'm here to be your guide and your teacher, your provider. I'm here to make sure I should not no. I committed to that, which gave me the discipline and the consistency to keep pushing everything that I'm supposed to be pushing in order to produce that result when the time comes. Like, this is what they mean when they say you got to be it before you are it, because you have to know what result you're looking for and constantly work towards producing that result until it comes. Once that result comes, then you're like, bam, so many people give up because they're so busy focusing on the reward. If I do this enough, if I'm consistent enough with this to produce this reward, it'll eventually come to me. No, motherfucker, that's not how this works. You have to prepare yourself by knowing what result knowing what actions need to be done to produce a specific result, which means you have to experiment. Some of y'all don't even want to fucking look stupid enough. That's crazy enough. That's crazy. A lot of people are not willing to look foolish enough to even develop the discipline and consistency necessary to produce the result. Because you're going to have to be disciplined and consistent enough with the experimentation to know I don't know what I'm doing. I have to figure out what I'm doing. And as I'm learning what I'm doing, I have to write these notes down. I have to take these notes to make sure that this result is being produced. Now, once this result is continually produced, it's like, what? That's why when people ask me, when people come to me and say, I want to be able to trade and shit like you do, you better get started now. Even if I let you into the course, you're still not going to get where I am because you have to be able to be consistent and disciplined enough to experiment with the information that I give you in order to produce the result that I produce. You have to keep going through and finding it to produce the result that I produce. You're not willing to experiment that long because you want the reward of why you're here. You feel me? This is why I don't drop my prices, because so many people want the reward of what it is. That, nah, I need somebody. When you pay for real, it's because you want the result. And I'll fuck with you for that. If you don't want the result, I'm not fucking with you. You just want the reward. I'm not going to teach you that shit. I've had so many. What are your signals? I'm not giving you no signals. I know where to go when it's time to go there. You feel me? That came from my consistency and discipline through my commitment of understanding that I needed to produce this result, so I put the passion behind it. This is why this sequence of things is happening. You have to go for your passion. You have to develop your passion, be committed to it, and then you can be disciplined and consistent with it. It's not as simple as, I didn't feel like going to the gym today. It's not even a feeling, bro. When you have the passion to what it is that you want the result to be, you don't care. You're going. You're going. But when you just want the reward, tying it back to the example of motherfucker just want to lose 15 pounds as opposed to motherfucker want to maintain 185. It's different. Because the person who just wants to lose, they're not changing their diet. They're not going to change the way they eat. They're not going to increase their workouts. They're not going to push themselves to actually get there. The person who maintains, it's a different mindset. They have a different visualization, a different imagery about themselves. They have a different connection with the law of divine oneness. There's a different image that they see that allows them to say, I need to produce this result. The result is what's visualized. You have to concretely see the result that you want in your mind and know that every single day I'm working towards, I'm being disciplined and consistently producing the necessary actions that I know will give me this result. At some point, it becomes a matter of time before the result fulfills itself. But if you have not done, this is why I say you ain't done your 10,000 hours, but even doing your 10,000 hours, tying it back to the Bruce Lee thing with the 10,000 kicks. If you got 10,000 kicks that you've only practiced one time, it ain't gonna matter when you dealing with a motherfucker who has one kick they did 10,000 times. The disciplined, consistent motherfucker, they boring. They got one kick that they've done 10,000 times, but they gonna kick your motherfucking ass. The motherfucker who has 10,000 kicks that they've done one time, they're exciting as fuck. They're the life of the party. They gonna get the shit kicked out of them. Because they gonna use the wrong kick at the wrong time. Because they don't know which result they're supposed to be producing. They don't know what result is going to come of this kick. I just know I got a whole arsenal of kicks, and I'm going to kick me a motherfucker. This is one of the reasons why I like this is why I like watching Dragon Ball Z and, karate anime and shit like that. Like, these niggas be fighting for like 8 hours and shit. And they only land like 10 punches. It's like, damn, I'm doing all of this because this is what I know. Like, they're equally in this point where it's about the result. The result is for me to connect my punch to you, but also not to get hit at the same time. So I'm in a space where I have to dodge and punch and dodge and punch and dodge and punch and dodge and punch until I find the right opening and produce the result. You feel me? It's different. And as men, we need to get into that and understanding the core and the essence of what it really is to be consistent and disciplined. If you don't have passion, if you do not have commitment, you won't be consistent and disciplined. You just won't. And it's not to shit on you or say, treat you like you ain't shit or no shit like that. No, you just won't be consistent simply because you don't have to be. There's no desire. There's no passion. There's nothing there for you to link to say, I have to be committed to this. And now once my commitment is there, it's easy. It's easy as fuck for me to be disciplined and set my commitment. Once I have a commitment to something, it's easier for me to do the same thing and do it the same way every time. But we're in a society that teaches you that there's something wrong with doing the same thing the same way every time. You're boring. You need to live a little. You need to do this. You need to do this. Everybody tell you to live a little right before they tell you to do some destructive shit that takes you out your discipline, that takes you out of your consistency. How come nobody says live a little and tell you to do some shit that aligns you with it? Because they can't. They won't. They don't. They don't know how, bro. They just don't know how. Because everybody thinks if they do enough spontaneous shit, something will randomly happen to them. Random acts of kindness they're cool, but you can't do anything sporadically and expect a concrete result. And this is why our relationships fail today, because women don't want the concrete reality. They want the abstract reality. You feel me? Yeah, men are principle, analysis and deconstruction. Women are detail, synthesis and construction. The two things are supposed to align to make the same result. When you see the way in which I'm disciplined and consistent, you need to be that same way. Help me be creative with this shit so we can produce the result we need to produce. Not for me to find a way to benefit you so you stop thinking about the last man of your past, for you to start, for your self-esteem to feel good, which is crazy as fuck. Women want men to boost their self-esteem while women won't boost a man's ego, and ego and self-esteem is the same shit. Semantics. Some fucking semantics. And this is what fucks us up in our relationships. While we end up leaving the relationship miserable, while after it's like, why are men so this, that, and the third? Why can women walk away from irreconcilable differences? Because the shit get boring. It was just no more life in it. No, because things really started getting disciplined and consistent. We're not children. We're supposed to be producing a result. Now, you want some excitement for real? Help me produce the result that we're supposed to be producing. When I was in undergrad and I was with my girlfriend from undergrad and shit, I told her, just let me finish school and you good. Let me graduate med school. Let me do all of the shit that I'm supposed to do and you good. Like, have my back while I'm doing that shit. Help me study. Help me do these things. No, you don't want to do that. Oh, no, that's your thing. You do that. Okay, cool. Let me do it then and leave me the fuck alone. It's so boring. It's so this. I'm trying to graduate from college. I didn't come to college to play around. Like, the fuck? I get it. They say, yeah, don't be so strict and have fun and shit. But I didn't pay that money to go there and waste it. You know how many people didn't finish and shit? Like, I'm from med school. I walked away for different reasons and shit. But in med school's perspective, it's like, I didn't pay all of that money for nothing. I went there for a reason. Life happened. Like, shit worked out the way it worked out. I couldn't get mad at it. This is how life plays out. But it didn't change anything that I learned. It didn't change anything that I developed. It didn't change anything about any of that. But I didn't go there to play. But I did. Because the shit was on a fucking beach, bro. Like, my first semester, I'm like, nigga, I ain't been on a beach in a minute. It had black sand and shit. I fucked up my first semester. Because I couldn't remain consistent. I didn't remain consistent in discipline. And that was on my own fault. That was on my own fault. And like I said, when I got consistent in discipline and shit, my grandmother got killed. Like, right when I'm taking my final, I'm finding this out. I missed passing by 3%. I just missed passing by 3%. But because I had fucked up the first semester, it was what it was. The consistency and discipline didn't matter the second time. It didn't matter the second time. It wouldn't, and if I would have put the consistency and the discipline in the first time, the second time wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? Everything would have worked out the way it worked out eventually because, I mean, with the vaccine and all that shit, I would have walked away anyway. Because I had already seen too much. I would have walked away anyway. It just was what it was. I can't knock that. I can't get mad at that. But the core of that, when I got in, a lot of people was like, you know, it wasn't, it was discipline and consistency, but I had a passion for this shit. I knew what I was going to do and I knew what result I had to do to get there. And I put that result in. I achieved that result. I gained that result. I can repeat the result right motherfucking now. This shit wasn't luck. It wasn't happenstance. It wasn't an accident. I didn't get there by hope. No, I produced the result. It was supposed to happen. This is one of the things, like, when you look at Steph Curry play basketball and shit, every time Steph Curry shoot a three, he knows the result from the consistency and discipline that he has put in to perfect his shot. He knows when it's going in. He knows when it's going in. He will shoot it, turn around, and say night night before the bitch even fall. He knows when it's going to drop because he knows what result is going to produce. He knows what result is going to come of the actions that he's been consistent and disciplined with the whole time. There's too many people that just want a reward without putting in the necessary work because they don't have the passion to do it because they see it as work. This ain't work, nigga. This is fucking consistency and discipline. LeBron James has been in the game for ever, nigga. Ever since 2003. I think that's when he got drafted in 2003. And it's 2025 now. 22 years. 22 years. 22 years he's been in the league. And I was watching this show on Netflix called Starting Five or whatever, and they was going over it. And Savannah was explaining how faithfully he's going to take a nap at 2 o'clock. She said he's been like this since he's been in the league. Discipline and consistency. Because he knows what result he's going to produce on the court. He knows what he needs to do as an athlete to produce the results he needs to do. He knows these things and he has committed to doing them. Because he has the passion for the sport. You see what I'm saying? It's shit like that we look and we admire and we want it, but we don't want the full scope of what it takes to get there. It goes passion, commitment, consistency, and discipline, then result. Niggas just want the reward. I want to make it to the league. And do what? You feel me? I want to, and when your expectations for yourself ain't that high, when you don't feel good enough about yourself to do anything progressive and anything beyond what anybody else wants you to do, you're not going to push yourself for that. You're not going to have the consistency and the discipline necessary to achieve the result that you want. Now, when you start getting your results and you like, damn, you don't, when I talk to people who say shit like, I don't know how this happened. It ain't me. It ain't me. Anytime something happens in my life, I know exactly why it happened. Good, bad, ugly, and different. I know exactly why it happened. Because now it goes into accountability a little bit. But I know exactly why it happened. Most people who are result-oriented and who are, you can find, they got a good work ethic, they're consistent. They ask them why something occurred the way it occurred. I knew it was going to happen. How'd you just know? Because I did it. Goes back to the Matrix, stop trying to hit me and hit me. Like, I did this. I knew what to do, and I did it. And this is the result that was supposed to happen. It's the experimentation. Because a lot of people don't experiment enough. They don't know that results are input and output. They're waiting on rewards and blessings and accidental shit to happen. No, life does not work like that. The shit that happens in your life is a result of some shit. Benefit or detrimental, we can talk about that later, but it's the result of some shit. You did some shit, or some shit was done to you. And that's the result that it produced. It wasn't no accident. It didn't just happen. It's a result. And it's a result of consistency and discipline. This goes into, and we'll talk about this, it'll be some episodes down when we get to the 12 laws of the universe on deliberate action. That's inputting, like, yo, if you do it enough, if you do it the right way enough, you get the result. The closer and closer you get to doing it correctly, the more and more you produce the result. That's it. That's it, bro. Discipline and consistency ain't no mystical mumbo jumbo shit. Discipline and consistency, discipline and consistency is simply doing the same thing and doing it the same way. For however long you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? We got to get into that, bro. Like, as men, it's like, as black men, when it comes to our existence now, this is what we got to get into. We can't keep watching another motherfucker and hope that they do it for us. No, nigga, can't nobody do your work. Can't nobody do your work, bro. Won't nobody do your work. You feel me? And you can't half-ass your work. That's what consistency and discipline is. And this is the power of result. You got to have the target. Know what result you want. Know what fucking result you want. And go in and work to produce that result until you can get to that point. But stop being goofy with the shit and acting like you don't have to be consistent and disciplined with the shit, and you can be sporadic with it. Tying it into relationships. Another thing, like I said, when it takes us off of our pivot, if we are losing our consistency, it's because we are dealing in some way, shape, or form with an indecisive woman. And it makes it easy to be inconsistent when you're around somebody who's indecisive. Women can say all the time, I don't like making decisions. I don't want to do you when you hear a woman say she don't like making decisions, you best to believe she's going to get you to stop being consistent. You're going to stop being consistent with your own shit and start being consistent with the shit that makes her boost her ego or feel whatever, but she is not going to change her decisiveness. It's going to take you off your pivot. It's going to take you off your pivot. If you've already experienced this shit, you know what I'm talking about. Shit took you off your motherfucking pivot because she was indecisive. What do you want to eat? I don't know. You want to eat here? No, I already had that. No, I don't even want that. I don't even want that. You decide. And then you decide, I don't want that either. Well, this is what you're going to eat. This is what you're going to eat. Now, when you are consistent and you are disciplined and shit that you decide, yo, this is where I'm rocking right now. You can either get with it or you can get away. You can run with it or run from it. It's that simple. We're scared to say that shit because we getting some pussy, bro. Because of the reward. That's why I'm so glad that I've been celibate. But I'm so glad that I've experienced both ends of the spectrum. Pussy really don't move me. And it can't move me. Because it's like, bruh, I know what result. I know what actions to produce to get the result that is some pussy. Every single time, my nigga. I've been doing it since I was 11 years old. I know how to do it. It ain't no ifs, ands, or maybes about it, bro. I know how to get some pussy. So that's not, you know what I'm saying? It don't move me. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you have to get into that space, because when you get into that, I'm not saying you got to be celibate or whatever the case may be, but when you get into that space of being disciplined and you're able to produce a result, I was fortunate enough to happen to learn how to produce the result to get pussy and get women and get phone numbers every single time at such a young age that now it's like, I can put that on the back burner. But it's something that I can tap into at will. It ain't hard to get a number, bro. It ain't hard for me to produce the result to get the woman that I want whenever I want them. You feel me? But now when I actually obtain something and I actually get, now it's like, no. The only woman that I can have in my space has to be the result of the shit that keeps this shit going. If you just want to be here because you see me doing what I'm doing and you ain't got nothing else for you to do, case in point, I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap this up. I knew this woman, she wanted to write a book, right? So we linking and she like, yeah, I want you to help me write my book or whatever the case may be because I know you wrote them and shit. I'm keeping it 100% business. You feel me? It was a barter thing. She was working with a company that I was affiliated with as far as my webpage and shit goes. So she was giving me, game when I would ask her because she worked for the motherfucker. So it's like, yo, I need to know how to set this thing up and how to set this thing up and this thing up. And she was like, all right, cool. So as I'm helping her, going over write her book, I'm proofing it, and she's telling me, okay, I got this, that, and the third. She crossed the line and say, she like, I feel like, she said, because I'm letting you into my creative space, it's like you fucking me. No, it's not. Me fucking you would be me fucking you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You feel me? So you don't want to be with me. No, nigga, this is business. We're bartering. Like, the fuck? You want it. I said, now, you could have very well paid me to be a guide and a mentor to help you write your book, but you didn't. What, you thought this was a relationship was going to develop or some shit? No, I said, I don't mix business and pleasure. Well, I'm not doing this shit unless there is, all right, cool, call it what it is, leave it alone. Hey, it is what it is. To this day, this motherfucker ain't wrote a book. You ain't write your book. Your passion wasn't even for your book, it was to be fucking with me. What kind of shit is that? There's no wonder you couldn't be consistent and disciplined enough to produce the result. Your result wasn't your book. Your result wasn't your fucking book. And you thought that I did the shit. You thought that I wrote books and shit. No, I have a result that I wanted to produce. These So Frail conversations, my books, these are for my sons. I don't give a fuck about y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all to life. But I don't give a fuck about y'all. To the context that I did this for y'all. No, when I have sons, a son, however many sons I have, you feel me? When it's time for them to go through their rites of passage, when it's time for them to grow, I have shit for them to actually go. If I don't make it, to see them get to those ages. Who knows what life may bring, whatever the case may be. I'm still here for them. This is for y'all. This is for y'all. When my daughters need to go and start dating and shit like that, and it's like I need to be, what kind of man should I look for? If daddy's gone and daddy can't provide this for you, daddy has given you all the game already. It's here. It's here. I know what result I wanted. I do not want a little girl who's going to be played. I don't want my daughter to experience the shit that I put women through. And I get it. Motherfuckers is like, you can't escape that. No. I can tell. I got the game. Y'all niggas were losers in the game. I was a winner in the game. So I know that being a winner in the game, that's the game that keeps getting passed on. That's the game you motherfuckers keep playing right now. I retired 2 jerseys, bro. And if you keep fucking with me, I'm going to go ahead and get a 3rd one before I settle down again. Because I can do that. Because I know the result. Y'all niggas just want the reward of some pussy. No, I know how to. Y'all wanted the reward of getting some pussy. I know how to put in the result of getting a woman. This why y'all be fucking anything, and this why my body count is significantly greater than yours. Even still, with having 8 years out of the game, 8 years of celibacy, from 11 to 35, if I still averaged out my numbers, I still be dropping 5 to 6 bodies a year. Nigga, like, respectfully, I'm better than y'all at this game. I don't need to play it anymore. But now when it comes for so the game is patterned off the motherfuckers who won. You feel me? So now when I have my daughters and shit, I don't have to worry about my karma because I absolved my karma by teaching her the game. I make sure my sons ain't out here doing the same bullshit that I was doing because now they are, yo, bro, you can have your fun, but at the same time, you got to be a man. That's what these So Frail conversations are for. That's what the So Frail book is for. I never denied them their sexual energy, but I need to teach them about how to use it correctly. I'm never going to deny them any of the shit that I've actually experienced and say, oh no, you can't do that because you're too young for this. No. When you're ready, I know that you're going to be ready for it, but I got to teach you the whole spectrum of the game. Because you're going to do the shit any motherfucking way. I did the shit any motherfucking way. So I know you're going to do the shit any motherfucking way. But the difference between you doing the shit any way and me doing it is that I'm going to be willing to give you the game as opposed to assuming you too young. Or being incompetent enough or being too incompetent to talk to you about it. You feel me? That's what the fuck this shit is about. And it's all of that is rooted in, like I said, the passion that I have to maintain the consistency and the discipline. This is where we need to be, and this is how we need to transition going forward. To develop our consistency and our discipline as men, especially as black men, because we really need to get back into this pocket in order to produce results necessary for our people. We need to start finding things we're passionate about and commit to them. You feel me? And when we're able to finally do that and shit changes and shit. This is what they fear when they say, I fear the rise of a black messiah. It's not a motherfucker who's going to come and save people. It's a motherfucker who's going to come and show people how to save their motherfucking self through discipline and consistency, commitment and passion. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Yeah, man, that's discipline and consistency. Oddly enough, again, it just comes through me, bro. I ain't know none of this shit was going to come out. I literally just looked at my phone because I ain't had nothing to talk about. So I looked at my phone, looked at my old episodes, and I seen passion, commitment. I decided, let's see what's next in that. And I just thought about discipline and consistency, and it came out the way it needed to come out. It needed to be talked about. Like, when you look at what a successful person is, like, that's what success is, bro. Success is a result. It's not a reward. Success is a fucking result. I need y'all motherfuckers to get that shit. Success is a fucking result. And it's the result of discipline and consistency. Doing the same thing the same way every time to make sure you produce this result. It's not, you can't free, until you get the actual result down pat, you can't freestyle and do other shit. Like motherfuckers want to quantum leap and skip the process. They don't want to put no passion into the shit. They don't want to be committed to the shit. They just want to, they don't want to even be consistent and disciplined with the shit. They just want the reward. They don't want to say, okay, I know that if I produce this result, I get the reward. So here's what I'm going to do. Nah, niggas ain't working for that shit. Niggas ain't working on no shit like that. Motherfuckers is just really acting like they're entitled to the shit. You don't have to be consistent. You don't have to be disciplined. You don't have to put in no motherfucking work. You feel me? And I know, well, earlier in the podcast, you said it's not work. It's not work when you putting in work that you're supposed to be doing. You feel me? The work ethic that I have, the work ethic that you see people have, and yes, I brag on my work ethic. I'm proud of my work ethic, but it's because I'm consistent and disciplined with the shit that I do. Once it's here in my mind and I'm ready to do it, all right, bet. This is what needs to be done for me to produce this result. When I wrote my first book, I just needed to write. The first book, I was like, I just needed to write till the book is done. So that means every single day, I'm going to come in and write. When I would go to work, first thing I would do, because I know that, like, I would work the morning shift, so I know that ain't nobody, was moving. Nobody was really getting their car yet because they were still sleeping in the hotel. So those first 2 hours, I'm writing. I'm writing for my book. I'm writing until I get the buzz. Hey, such and such with their car. Boop. Close the book up. Put it in my bag, and then I'm done for the day. That's it. Next day, when the day starts, I read over the last couple pages and paragraphs that I read for So Frail. Let my mind get tapped back in, and then I keep writing. Keep writing. When that chapter is done, boom, go to the next one. Boom. Keep writing. The discipline was to do the same thing the same way every day, until the result was produced that I have the book written. Now, next it goes into typing it. Okay? After I get off work, I'm going to go to the gym or whatever. I'm going to go home, type. Go home, type until it's done. Once it was done, the result was produced. Discipline, consistency, doing the same thing. Consistency, discipline. Doing the same thing the same way until the result is produced. Once the book was written, once the book was typed, you feel me? Create the cover. Go to the publishing. There was different things that I had to do until the book was 100%. The result was the book was 100% produced. And when it was produced and published, that's it. I don't have to do this now. The book writing process, that's a result. That's this. Now I know what I need to do to produce the necessary results every single time, the same way. How to get it distributed on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They took my shit down. Somebody left a review or whatever, and Barnes and Noble said we ain't selling that shit no more. I ain't care because it was what it was, but Barnes and Noble don't distribute my shit anymore. I don't know. But Amazon, everybody's like, yo, keep distributing my shit to these places. Same with the podcast. Like, even with the podcast, if you listening to this episode right now and you go back from the previous episodes on, listen to the clarity. Like, this was discipline. I said, I'm going to get my vocal chain right. I'm going to get my sound quality right. So that way it's like, it sounds better. It sounds improved. I want it to sound professional, more and more professional, get closer and closer and closer and closer. Listen to my gym sessions. The Paula Cafe flows. Listen to how they progress and shit into what they're coming into now. I still take out a little bit too much low end. Well, I took out a little bit too much low end and loud in the last session I dropped, but I mastered that and figured out why I was doing that and what was happening within my podcast episodes. So as you see, it's getting better and better and better and better and better and better and better because I know what result I'm producing, and I'm going to do the same thing the same way until I get the result that I want, making the final tweaks within the experimentation to get the result that I want. This is one of the things that I love about how my podcast plays out, and I love about how the shit that I talk about. Because not only do I tell you about it, you can see the real-time proof of what I'm talking about. I'm not telling you another motherfucking story. I'm not telling you another motherfucker's experience I'm not dropping another motherfucker's knowledge. I'm telling you my experience with the shit and correlating the knowledge that I have with these things. So when I tell you what discipline is, when I tell you what consistency is, when I tell you what commitment is, when I tell you what passion is, I'm telling you what I do and how it translates. Because when I talk to people and it's like, yo, I want to get focused like you get focused. Okay, this is how you got to get focused like I got focused. You feel me? When it came to writing, hitting it raw, it came from, okay, I got to study this. I got to go back and look at this book. I got to go back and read this. I got to go back and do these things. consistency and discipline. But none of this shit matters unless you have passion. And passion, if you don't have passion, you're not committing to none of this shit. And you will not be consistent and you will not be disciplined enough to produce the result you want. You will simply be hoping that you've done enough work to get the reward that you're looking for. Social media, the entrepreneurs on social media teach you just got to keep showing up. Keep showing up. Showing up to do fucking what? Showing up where? What are you showing up for? What are you showing up for? Where the fuck are you showing up? And what are you doing when you show up? Are you seeking to produce a result? Or are you just here? Niggas see me, I got a sign on. No. You got to have that consistency and that discipline, and you got to keep promoting yourself, and you got to keep doing certain shit every single day. One thing that I love to use, and this is one of the things that help with my discipline the most, you got to still perform to an empty room. Always perform to an empty room. Perform to an empty room, and you'll find out if you have passion about it or not. Perform to an empty room, and you'll see if you're truly committed to it or not. Perform to an empty room, and you can see if you can actually be consistent and disciplined to the shit. I perform to a lot of empty rooms. So much so I prefer to perform to an empty room. On some real shit. I don't mind performing to an empty room. I do not mind performing to an empty room. And because it's in performing to an empty room that I'm able to say, all right, bet. I have the comfortability to say, I didn't like that part. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. Now I'm able to tweak myself. Because sometimes you can perform to a room too early, and that discipline and shit will keep you there because now you're focused on, what do the people want me to say? What do the people like? What do the people... I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, bro. I don't talk about the shit that I talk about for y'all to like. I don't talk about the shit that I talk about for y'all to adhere to. This is why it's just me on this motherfucker. I don't want another motherfucker's opinion about this shit. And I don't know arrogant shit, and I don't know my word is law, my word is matter. No, because this is for my kids, bro. This ain't for y'all. This is for my kids. I don't need another motherfucker's opinion on what I'm leaving for my kids. You feel me? I probably never said it like this before, but it's like, this is why it's just me on this motherfucker. Like, this is for my kids. Y'all influence is not gonna matter when it comes to my kids, bro. It's that simple to me. So even deeper than that, it's like, I'm able to go this distance. I'm able to go the way that I'm going because I'm not trying to talk to y'all. Y'all just happen to hear the conversation that I'm giving to my kids. You feel me? It just so happens that there's gems all through this motherfucker that apply to everybody else because I'm able to give my experience, bro. And I'm able to tell what I do. Not what I've seen, not what I've read, nigga, what I understand because of what I've done. Experimentation is that motherfucking powerful, but that is where your consistency and your discipline comes in. You have to do the same thing the same way, and you have to experiment with it to find out which result am I trying to produce. Am I just trying to lose 15 pounds or am I trying to maintain a 185-pound weight? You feel what I'm saying? It's different. It's different because now what do I have to do this? Because it's different experiences. This is why so many people go to the gym for however long they're going to go, then they give up and quit because they're not trying to produce a result to maintain anything. They're trying to get the reward of weight loss. The fuck? The fuck? Like, that, what does that do? There's no need for discipline. There's no need for consistency. There's just need for repetition of bullshit to get you the result. Once you get the result, you can walk away. How many people live life like that, bro? Metaphorically and figuratively, I just want to lose the 15 pounds. I don't want to maintain a 185-pound weight. Change your perspective if you really want to tap into using correctly your discipline and your consistency. It don't matter how long it takes. Because on some real shit, this is why they say the overnight success happens after 10 years because I've consistently worked toward this result. Then the moment I got that result, pew, 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 pew. Oh, that shit just took off fast for you. It just launched off. Yeah, it did just launch off because now the result is happening. Because now I can't miss. Now I know how to produce this result every single time. You feel what I'm saying? Every single time I know how to produce this result because of the consistency and the discipline that I put in behind the commitment that I had to ignite my passion. Well, that was ignited by my passion. And then from the results that I produce, now I develop habits. And that's what we'll be talking about. I'll probably be talking about that next week if I remember to talk about it. But from that result, I'm going to get the habits. Because once you get the result one time, two times, three times, now you get the habits. This is how addiction works. This is why motherfuckers be getting addicted to shit. Like if you got an addiction, you can be disciplined and consistent. You feel me? Because chances are you do your addiction around the same time, the same way every time. Motherfuckers who gotta have that morning coffee, you're disciplined and you're consistent. Motherfuckers who smoke the first thing in the morning, you're consistent and you disciplined. It's that, bro. That's exactly what it is. And what's the result? Motherfuckers smoke, oh, I'm trying to reduce my stress. Motherfuckers drink coffee, oh, I'm trying to stay awake. I'm trying to pep myself up. You know what results you're going to and you're disciplined and consistent for. It ain't as complex as motherfuckers try to make it. Now you committed to coffee because you have passion for what the coffee, get your flavors. Now you drink a syrup. That's a whole different conversation. But the point that I'm making is you're disciplined and you're consistent with the shit. But somehow when it comes to anything else, it's like the reason why you can't hop into anything else because you don't have the passion for it. Therefore, you can't commit to the shit. You're doing it for an aesthetic appeal. You're doing it for a goal, a small goal that you want to have or whatever the case may be. You don't have any passion to produce the result. You don't have the passion to produce the result and go on before, and you'll let people psych you out of it. You feel what I'm saying? One thing that I was even battling with, but my results kind of eclipsed it and just said, bro, shut the fuck up, is the fact it's like, yo, you'll hear on social media, yo, you 30 and you rapping. No, actually, I've been rapping since I was 12. But I'm 30, I'm in my 30s, and I'm putting my music over my brands and my content. There's a result that I was working on. It doesn't matter how old I am. I can continue to do this forever. Now, as my catalog builds, guess who I can give that shit to? My babies, nigga. So now when I start to build that momentum up and I'm able to pitch my shit to other to different commercials, different things of that nature, when I'm able to when I'm able to pitch on a regular basis and I can get that result consistently because now I've mixed my beats the right way. I got my drums in there the right way. I got my sound at an equal point. I got my mix at a certain level of lufs. These are certain things that I had to learn along the way to where now it has the quality necessary for them to want to put my shit in their video games, their commercials, and different things like that. This is one of the reasons why I do sessions like this. I don't do songs. I do freestyles because I cut it up and I do it in such a way that when I listen to when I watch TV, when I watch Power, when I watch the shows that I frequent the most, it's like they don't put the whole song in there. They put clips to the song. So if I can give you a small little piece that, okay, this can run with that, and then I give you a beat that can go into it, I know how to do this shit. And I'm experimenting right now on social media on how I want these clips to learn, what tempos I need to actually get the best thing for. If it's playing 30 seconds, it's not getting cut off too short. I'm experimenting with this shit right before y'all very eyes, and y'all are seeing me work this out. You feel what I'm saying? So now when it gets to the point where I have a whole catalog of jam sessions, a whole catalog of Polycafe flows, when my kids is like, yo, here, I own these masters here. Do something with it. Now I can teach you that the music business side of it is used to sell products. That's it. We just put the popular face on and we get the artist to create the best possible song for us that we can use to sell these products. That's it. So when you sync it into a commercial, when you sync it into this, now you can negotiate, hey, you got to pay me this amount because I'm bringing this amount, this audience already is coming to it. When they hear my song, they'll register, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of shit that has to go into it. But I got to be consistent and disciplined with what I'm doing to produce that next result. You feel me? There's passion there. So I'm not looking at it like, yo, you 30, like, I'm not trying to be popular, nigga. I'm not trying to be a superstar, nigga. No, I'm just trying to put my shit where it needs to go so I can sell my products. And then I can use my shit to sell other people's products for them. That's why I both do the beat and I do the lyrics or whatever the case may be. So when they pitch the instrumentals are easier to flow. You feel me? And as the instrumentals are easier to flow, oh, we like this. We're going to put this here. We're going to put this here. We're going to move with that. Yeah, I know. Now you got to pay me. You got to pay me because now I'm building the popularity myself. So now when it takes off how it needs to take off, things go the way they need to go. But this is the experimentation that is derived from being disciplined and consistent. I can't just tell y'all to do this shit if I'm not doing the shit and you're not able to see me do the shit. I can talk about it all day long, but it's another thing when I can tell you why, how, and to what extent I'm doing what I'm telling you to do, what I'm telling you we need to get back into. And this is what the purpose of it is. I'm never gonna tell y'all what y'all should be doing. I'm gonna tell you what I did and how you can apply it to you. You feel me? You got to learn how to be consistent and disciplined, but in order to do that, you have to know that you're focusing on a result that you need to be experimenting for. And you can only be disciplined and consistent when you find that commitment to something and you put that passion behind it. If you're not willing to do that shit, get the fuck out the way, because you're not gonna be disciplined and consistent. You're just gonna be a motherfucker in the way. You feel me? And that's what's gonna fuck everything up. But this shit longer than the motherfucker, and I got shit to do, so I'm gonna go in there. Go kiss your babies and make sure they eat their vegetables. And our sons, with everything that I just said, bro, start early. Your baby, your sons, they gonna show you what they passionate about at a young age. Now you have to get them to commit to that. Commit to their passion. Start them off early, because their passions are gonna change as they get older. But when you learn how to set that foundation early, passion, commitment, discipline, and consistency, and now you produce a result, it ignites them. Pay attention to when I love it when kids do this shit, especially little boys and shit, when they finally learn how to do something. The excitement they get when they finally produce a result. Have y'all ever seen that shit? I remember was I teaching my nephew? I think I was teaching my nephew how to do it, or he was already learning how to do it and I was refining it. How to tie his shoe. When he finally got it, he was like, this was my oldest nephew. He was young. He was like, Uncle Ray, I got it. I got it. That excitement, that passion met the result. The reward didn't even matter, because now he can replicate the process. Now, tying the shoe is redundant now. It's mundane. He don't think about that shit. He just tied the shoe. He doesn't remember the excitement he got when he first produced the result. Now he can produce the result at will. Now he ties his shoes every time he plays. Every time he plays sports, every time he puts his shoes on, he ties his shoes. And it's so deep into his mind, he doesn't even think about or remember the first time he got it right. But there was a passion that he had, and he was committed to learning how to tie his shoe. This is why I say passion doesn't always have to be positive emotions or whatever the case may be. There's a frustration you have when you're not able to do something. That's passion. And you commit to being able to do it to absolve the frustration. That's commitment. And now when you have the discipline and the consistency to learn how to do it to produce the result, once you get the result, everything else is worth it. You create the joy, you create the euphoria necessary to continue to do it again. If we start our babies young, when we first exhibit and experience their passion, start to transition them into the commitment, then the discipline. And then when they start to feel and know when something is passionate for them, they can move into that discipline. Discipline and consistency is easy. And then know that you're looking for a reward, a result, not a reward. I'm not going to reward you for failing. You didn't win the race? Cool. You're not getting an honorable mention. Throw that bullshit away. Now let's go train for you to get faster so you can win the next time. What's it going to take? You feel what I'm saying? And as fathers, we have to be there for them to guide them into their discipline to produce results. Not to do what we need them to do, but to be able to successfully produce the results necessary for the thing that they're committed to. You feel me? So I'm going to go ahead and there. Go kiss your babies, make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.